Hi, welcome back once again to the Bethel Baptist Church Ministries. Our message today is found in the book of Ezekiel, who is known as the Watchman. And our message is about watching. Too often we don't involve ourselves in the things that need to be involved. We need to be involved in it. We don't say the things that need to be said when they need to be said. This message warns us what happens when you don't do what God has called you to do. Sit back, relax, and enjoy our message, which is entitled, "A Watchman Needs Good Sight." God bless us. Okay.
A watchman is only as good as his sight. The book of Ezekiel is divided into two distinctly different types of messages to the people of Israel. The first message was given to an exiled Israel. And in his early messages, we find Ezekiel constantly putting before generations born in exile the sins of Israel and how they came to find themselves in bondage. How they had sinned against God and how God had removed himself, not only from the temple, but from their presence, and surrounded them with the pomp and circumstance only found in idolatry. Oh, but that second message. The second message that Ezekiel was given by God to give to Israel was a message of hope and restoration. Ezekiel, whose name means God will strengthen, was a man of strong moral purpose and integrity, and devout in his duties as a priest. Although the prophets of Israel were seen as watchmen, when we think of the position watchman, we think of Ezekiel. It is here in the 33rd chapter of Ezekiel that we find the responsibilities of the watchman and the solemn duty. His solemn duty is to sound a warning. In our morning scripture, we find God giving instruction to Ezekiel as to what a watchman was to do. Quite simply, a watchman, upon seeing the people he is watching when they come under attack, he is to warn them. Yes. Whoever hears the warning, if they do not heed the warning, then whatever happens to them is their own fault.
That's right.
All right.
Because they were warned and did not heed the warning. Those that did heed the warning, the Bible tells us, will be saved. And their souls, because they not only heard the warning, but they acted on the warning. On the other hand, if the watchman sees the people about to come under attack and yet does not warn the people, then he becomes responsible for whatever happens to those people. Yes, the people who are doing wrong will pay for their wrongness, but their blood, their blood will be on the hands of the watchman, and he will be held accountable to God.
Yes. That's right.
To put it even more plainly, pastors, reverends, ministers, deacons, lay leaders, and pew pastors, if you are leading the people astray, God will hold you accountable.
That's right. All right.
Congregants, guests, visitors, SMO Christians, that's Sunday morning only Christians.
All right. Yes.
If you allow yourself to be led astray, God will hold you accountable.
All right.
In the news over the last few days, there's been a story A story about some pastor in the South who was raising Cain over a proposed mosque being established near the site of the World Trade Center. I do not know what side you have taken in this dispute, but I have to say, I'm troubled. I'm troubled by this controversy, and that it even arose. You see, first of all, the ideologies of America was founded on freedom of religion.
Yes, right.
That's right.
There is nowhere in the Constitution that says Baptists only or Jews only,
Yes.
Catholics only or Protestants only, or Quakers, or, well, you know, you fill in the denomination. And how would we as Christians feel if some group of people who did not believe as we believe wanted to burn our Bible?
That's right. Yeah, how about that?
And if a group of people wanted to burn the Torah, or burn any teachings of a group that believed or followed traditions passed down to them from generation to generation. Secondly, it is time that we so-called religious leaders led the fight for the right instead of waiting to see what wrong will
That's
do.
right.
That's right. That's right.
History says we as leaders have done nothing to speak out against injustice until after the fact. And then most of the time, not at all. Where were the Southern Baptists and Catholic Church during slavery?
How about that?
Where was the Christian community during the Holocaust and South African apartheid?
Come on. Come on.
Where have we been in Bosnia and Rhodesia? And the IRA and Catholics fighting each other in the name of God. And what God is it that they're talking about anyway?
Right,
All
right.
right.
And let us not forget those cousins, the Palestinians and the Jews. Because if the governments of the world won't denounce what is happening, why aren't we? The so-called leaders of faith. Or are we afraid that the buck will really stop? Y'all will get that on your way home. And if this